Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I will
true.
do that. Don't worry. All right, here we go. We are going live on YouTube. And of course, we're already live here. All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is so good to be here with all of you. I am going ahead and muting everyone. If you are one of our readers this morning, you will be able to unmute yourself when it's time to read. So please do that when the time comes, and I will certainly call on you. But otherwise, if you remain muted, then we'll be able to hear what's going on. And please, please do participate, even though you're muted. So we are very, very excited to be celebrating Shabbat together today, especially because Elexi Schwartz is having her bat mitzvah today and taking her place, taking full responsibility as a member of our Jewish community. And she's going to be leading our Torah service today. So that is really exciting. For those who don't know me, I'm Rabbi Heidi Hoover. I'll be leading the rest of the service together with Rabbi Alexis Pinsky, who is waving. Um, and so here we go. I'm going to share the prayer book to the screen. If you have a prayer book of your own, a Mishkan Tefillah, we are beginning on page 186. Moda ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechezarta binishmati b'chemla, b'chemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha. Moda ani lifanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechezarta binishmati b'chemla, b'chemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha. We are grateful before you, ever living and enduring Creator, who has given us back our souls with great compassion and who believes in us. So for those of us who are wearing a talit, a prayer shawl today, including Elexi, you can get ready to put that on. We're going to do the blessing for the talit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzit.
Amen. It is so beautiful to be together this morning. We continue with our blessing, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov. How wonderful, how good are your tents, O Jacob, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, your dwelling places, O Israel. And today we have the special experience that each of us is in our own sanctuary, our own holy space. All this year we might be on Zoom, but that just means that our own dwelling places are truly holy spaces, especially Alexi's living room, which is acting as her personal sanctuary today. So we'll join together singing Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha
I would like to invite Alexi's aunt, Lori Shilson, to unmute and read for us a Sher Yatzar, the blessing about our bodies.
That's open? Yeah. Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, if were one of them to fail, how well we are aware. We would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength.
Baruch atah Adonai rofeh chol basar umafli la'asot. Thank you. So we thank God that our bodies were working and are working well enough for us to be here today. And now we go on to our souls, which came pure from God. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. 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 Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi.
We continue with words of praise, words of Psalm 150, the closing words of the Psalm, Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia. Every living soul has the ability to praise. Hallelujah, 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 big food of time. Hallelujah, 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 take control. Hallelujah, hallelujah, never ignore. Hallelujah, 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 toast to my home. Hallelujah, hallelujah, lead me back to God. Hallelujah, 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 till creation. Hallelujah, hallelujah, till creation. Kohan Shama, Kohan Shama, hallelujah, Kohan Shama, hallelujah, Kohan Shama, hallelujah, hallelujah, Kohan Shama, hallelujah, hallelujah. We continue and rise, if you are able, for our call to prayer, our Baruch.
I'd like to invite Alexi's grandparents, Liz and Myrnie Schwartz, to unmute and read for us.
Don't trip.
Don't trip. They're coming.
Excellent.
Praised are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai and our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights.
Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Thank you so much. And now, if you have a prayer book, we're on page 231, and I'd like to invite Alexi's aunt, Rachel Allentoff, to unmute and read for us.
Yes. I'm going to do a part as well.
Excellent.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded, we saw as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back, and climbed again. Your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
We continue with our Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We continue with our V'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, and people can be seated. B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'chayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kidoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohim Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lahem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emet.
I'd like to invite you to read responsively with me. The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God. We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom, retelling the story that we just celebrated from Passover. Continue with our Amidah, page 242. I invite you to rise if you're able. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagipor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zoher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mivii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michal Mocha Balgivorot, Umidom Elav, Melech Mebit, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו, אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם. אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Can be seated and we'll join together words of celebration. Yismechu.
I'm pleased to invite Alexi's uncle, Ari Schloss, to read for us here. The English, please.
Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, whose sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Friends, we have come to the part in our service where we express gratitude, a time to give thanks. And there is certainly so much to be thankful for this morning, especially as we celebrate Elexi and here with all of you, her family and friends. And so I want to invite you to share what you are feeling thankful for. And since there's such a big group of us this morning, beautifully celebrating, I want to invite you to type in the chat, and then I will share what we put in the chat and read it out loud so we can all share in those blessings as a community. So if there is anything you want to express gratitude, I invite you to type it into the chat now and share it with all of us. Patricia is grateful for sunny weather. Emma, your new friend got a puppy and you get to be the tante to the puppy. Very exciting. I am so grateful to be here with all of you celebrating Elexi this morning and all of the hard work that she has accomplished. Let's see, thankful for being Alexi's friend. Spring is here and rides in Coney Island have opened. Mike is grateful for healthy family. Beautiful, beautiful. Keep them coming in. We'll share just a few more of these. Faye, grateful for the person sitting to your right. Jean, beautiful. My friends, I invite you to keep sharing what you're grateful for vaccinations, beautiful, for all the love we have from family and friends. Rachel's grateful for that. Beautiful. So all of these blessings of gratitude, I invite you to keep sharing them. We'll read just a few more. And even if we don't read all of them, I invite you to scroll through the chat and then we'll say our Chatima in Hebrew together. All right, just a few more. So, Alexi's grandma is grateful for a wonderful granddaughter and all of the beautiful family. Very important. Justin for family and friends. Hannah for love and life. Rebecca for friends, family, colleagues, and children you work with. Ellen, that Rebecca and you are members of the Double Dose Club. All right, so lots of people are grateful for vaccines. So my friends, for all of these blessings, those that we shared and those that we hold in our hearts, we say these words, Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot, and feel free to continue sharing all that you are grateful for. And one thing that we always pray for and express gratitude is the blessing of peace. So we'll sing the words of Sim Shalom together, praying that peace is actively brought into our world. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. One more time. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
And now we have come to the point where we continue quietly. If you have a prayer book, there are words on pages 260 and 261. If you can see the screen, there are words on the screen, but this is a time, of course, really like all times, when we can use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly. Iyu leratzon imrefi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri v'goali v'goali. May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. And now we come to a point in our service where we're getting ready to start the Torah service. But first, we need for Elexi to have a Hebrew name. And so I just spotlighted you, Elexi, and also me. And we're going to give you a name. Let me just get my, here we go. Oh. So I'm going to begin with a poem. Each person has a name. We each have a name given by God and given by our father and mother. We each have a name given by our stature and smile and given by our attire. We each have a name given by the hills and given by the walls. We each have a name given by the stars and given by our friends. We each have a name given by our sins and given by our yearnings. We each have a name given by our enemies and given by love. We each have a name given by celebrations and given by our work. We each have a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. We each have a name given by the sea and given by our death. You have been wearing and carrying the name Elexi Schwartz in this world for 13 years now. And you're creating the person that you will be. We all spend years and years creating who we are, making a name for ourselves. So you aren't giving up this name that you've had all your life. Today, you're adding another name that will be just as much yours. It is a name that you have chosen for yourself, and it will be your name for the Jewish world. You are taking on this name at this celebration of your bat mitzvah, and it will be your name for all of your Jewish celebrations. It's the name by which you'll be called to the Torah. If you get married one day, it will be the name on your ketubah, your Jewish marriage contract. If you have children, your Hebrew name will become a part of your child or children's Hebrew name. You are taking on this name at this time. And the name that you have chosen for your Hebrew name, and it's so special that you get to choose it for yourself. Many people don't. Many people, their parents choose their Hebrew name. And actually, we had a wonderful discussion earlier about names. And I invited people to talk about their names. And a number of people said they didn't like their Hebrew names. You're not going to have that problem because you chose it for yourself. And the name that you chose is Eden. Eden in English, like the Garden of Eden. And the name Eden means delight. So may you always find moments of delight throughout your life with other people, in the natural world, in your experiences. The experience of delight is uplifting and also can help to carry us through when life is hard. And I know that in your years, you've already experienced difficulties and also delight. So your Hebrew name also includes your parents' Hebrew names. You're connected to them always through your English name and through your Hebrew name. And so from this point onward, your name in the Jewish community will be Eden bat Adam Yitzchak vechedva Penina. Let it become a name honored and respected for wisdom and good deeds. May you walk in the path of goodness, beauty, and truth. Do justly and love mercy, and be humble before the mystery of life and the grandeur of the universe in which you live. May God's blessing rest on you now and always.
Amen.
And now we are ready to go on to our Torah service. And we'll use your new Hebrew name. So I'm going to invite the Schwartz family to get out the Torah as Rabbi Pinsky sings Ein Kamocha.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai v'ein k'maasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'mamshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'moitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
And I'd like to invite those who are able to rise. Elexi, would you read?
There is none like you among the gods, Adonai, and there are no deeds like yours. You are sovereign over all worlds, and your dominion is in all generations. Adonai reigns, Adonai has reigned, Adonai will reign forever and ever. Adonai will give strength to our people, Adonai will bless our people with peace.
Av harachamim Heitiva virtzoncha et Zion, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Ki v'cha levad batachnu, Melech Elam v'nisa Adon olamim.
Source of mercy, favor Zion with your goodness. Rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, for in you alone do we trust, sovereign, high and exalted, God eternal.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, U'devar Adonai mirushalayim.
For from out of Zion will come the Torah and the word of Adonai from Jerusalem.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael v'kdushato.
Blessed is God who in holiness gave the Torah to the people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Exalt Adonai with me, let us extol God's name together.
Lecha Adonai hagidula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetza v'hahod ki chol v'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chol v'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai ad-mamlacha v'ad midnaseh lechol lerosh.
Let's be seated. And now we come to the big moment where Elexi is going to read from the Torah. We have 3 aliyot today. And so for the first one, I am excited to invite Alexi's grandmother, Rita Schloss.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher B'dvar Vornu V'Yakol Hu'amin V'Notan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayisa Aharon et yadav el ha'am vayvarhem vayered me'asot ha'hatat ve'ha'olah ve'hashlamim vayavo Moshe ve'aharon el ohel moed vayetzu vayvarhu et ha'am vayarhu bod Adonai el kol ha'am vatetze eish milifnei Adonai vatohal al hamizbeach et ha'olah ve'et ha'halavim vayar kol ha'am vayaronu vayiblu al pneihem.
Oh, Mom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher notan lanu Torah emet v'notan lanu notah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Oh, I have what?
For the second aliyah, we invite Alexi's parents, Heather and Adam Schwartz, and her sister, Jordana. Do you need to see the blessing on the screen?
No. We have it. Okay, ready? Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayehu v'nei Aharon Nadav ve'Avihu ish maftato vayetnu vahen eish vayatzimu eleiha katoret vayaharivu lifnei Adonai Eish Sarah Asher Lotziva Otam Vatetze Eish Milifnei Adonai Vatohal Otam Vayamutu Lifnei Adonai Vayomer Moshe El Aharon Hu Asher Diber Adonai Lemor Bikrovai Ekadesh Ve'al Pnei Hol Ha'am Ekaved Vayidom Aharon.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam tata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now It's Alexi's Aliyah Ta'amod Eden Bat Adam Yitzchak Vechedva Penina.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorah, Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natam Ganu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. I lost my place. Oh, Vayikra Moshe El Mishael Be'el El Tzafon B'nei Uziel Dod Aharon Vayomer El Ehem Kir Vu Ze'u Etahehem Me'et P'nei HaKodesh El Mihut Lemahane Vayikravu Vayisa'um Behutanotam El Mihut Lemahane Ka'asher Diber Moshe Vayomer Moshe El Aharon Ul El Azar Itamar benav arshehem al tifra'u uvidehem lo tiframu ve'lo tamutu ve'al kol ha'eda yiksof va'ahehem kol beit Yisrael yivku et hasrefa asher saraf Adonai umipta ohel moed lo tetsu pentamutu kishemen mishat Adonai Elohem vaya'asu kidvar Moshe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasha Koach, Elexi. Can everybody just unmute yourself just for a moment and congratulate Elexi?
Beautiful.
Elexi, you did yourself proud.
Congratulations.
That was wonderful.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
All right.
You
I'm
look
going to ask
beautiful,
you
and your
to
mom.
go ahead
your
and mute
sister.
yourselves again, if you would. Elexi, that was absolutely wonderful. So you can sit down for a minute. We're going to turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If you have names that you did not send into the office that you would like to have included for the Misha Berach, I would like to invite you to put those names into the chat, and we will include them. Because we're a large group today, we are going to only do names in the chat and not do names aloud at the end the way we often do. So please put any names you would like to add for healing in the chat. And of course, you can also just hold those names in your hearts. We hold in our hearts and in our thoughts today for healing Jesse Sakharov, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Patty Ann Cubero, Ellen Belofsky, Meg Goldate, Mady Rosenbaum, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Barbara Weiner, Andy Glantzman, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Ira and Deanna Roth, Roz Borenstein, Dolores Weinberger, Ingrid Grosso, Roberta Gotthelf, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Richard Cherry, Ira Goldman, Vicky Lightmaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trummer, Mia Gannon, Richie Stein, Jeff Abel, Harold Gleiberman, Suzanne Leknos, Florence Schoen, Jules Feldman, Paul Kastick, Les Schenker, Katie Schenker, Dr. Jack Egnatinsky, Roberta Hayrath, Marilyn Birnbaum, Robin and Neil Parr, Roz Solomon, Joan Lifshitz, Stacy David and Wilma Mauser, Hannah Paines, Ellen Hoyt, Margot Zittin, Stuart Armstrong, Della Cohen, Maxine Breland, Iris Merlis, Joel Secundi, Monica Adius, Steph Adius, Michelle Nusamovisi, Kimberly Davy and Braden Finnegan, Claire Cyber, Marlene Unterberger, Freya Kashmir, Delphine Wolf, Rita and Perry Kravitz, Jeannie Greenberg, Florence Greenberg, Bill McShane, Leora Stuckey, Linda Kushner Silverman, Diane Schenker, Charlotte Russell. Jane Berman, Dimitri Milch, Hiroko Yajima, Rebecca Colton, Women in Jamaica, Lisa Deutscher, John Carfisi, Bruce Greenstein, Rebecca Rothstein, Bambi Polk, Pilar Bonilla, Dennis Stacy, Jesse Hamilton, Elena Aram, Chanel Kamabach, Warren Feliz, Jimmy Jenkins, Peter Gale, Shirley Joseph, Jane Perry's dad, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Louisa Espute, Abraham Kalesi, Patricia Matthews, Michael Moore, Dave Stanger, Elliot Woofsey, Michael Datch, Cindy Nathanson, Shauna Dazzle, Perry De La Touche, Barbara Weiser, and all of those whose names are in your hearts or on your lips. We also include all of those who are suffering from COVID-19 or from the measures we've taken to slow the spread of the virus. We include those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been harmed in other disasters, both natural, including the volcano eruption in St. Vincent, both natural disasters and human-created ones. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And now I would like to invite the Schwartz family to raise the Torah for Hagbah. I'd like to invite everyone who is able to rise to honor the Torah. And then after you raise it, you're going to wrap it back up.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Shkoach.
We can be seated.
What do I do?
I like that.
Help with the Torah. We practiced this.
Yeah, but
Okay, lay it down more.
I was now.
This happens also on the Bima.
Yeah,
It's sometimes hard to find the.
We did, we practiced. I was not doing it, Lexi was, so,
Well, I did.
okay,
I wasn't prepared.
lay it down. Okay,
All right.
all right.
All right, we have come now to the Haftarah. So, Elexi, whenever you're ready, you can do the blessing before the Haftarah and read from your Haftarah, and then do the blessing after the Haftarah. Do you need it to be on the screen?
No, I have it.
Okay, so then I'm going to have you on the screen instead.
Okay. Do I start? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar benvi'im tovim v'ratzav v'divrehem hanemarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo Uvin v'yeh ha'emet b'tzedek. The Haftarah for Shmini comes from the second book of Samuel. I am going to read 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 1 to 11. David again assembled all the picked men of Israel, 30,000 strong. Then David and all the troops that were with him set out from Baalim of Judah to bring up from there the ark of God, to which the name was attached, the name Lord of Hosts enthroned on the cherubim. They loaded the ark of God onto a new cart and conveyed it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill, and Abinadab's sons, Uzzah and Ahio, guided the new cart. They conveyed it from Abinadab's house on the hill, Uzzah walking alongside the ark of God and Ahio walking in front of the ark. Meanwhile, David and all the house of Israel danced before the Lord to the sound of all kinds of cypress wood or instruments with lyres, harps, timbrels, sistrums, and cymbals. But when they came to the threshing floor of Nakon, Uzzah reached out for the ark of God and grasped it, for the oxen had stumbled. The Lord was incensed at Uzzah, and God struck him down on the spot for his indiscretion, and he died there beside the ark of God. David was distressed because the Lord had inflicted a breach upon Uzzah, and that place was named Perez Uzzah, as it is still called. David was afraid of the Lord that day. He said, "How can I let the ark of the Lord come to me?" So David would not bring the ark to his place in the city of David. Instead, he diverted it to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and his whole household. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sor kol ha'olamim tzaddik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'mdaber u'mekayem shekol divarav emet v'tzedek Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaVodah, Ve'al HaNevi'im, Ve'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh, Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Likdusha V'limnucha, Lahavod Utifaret, Al HaKol Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu Modim La, Umevarchim Ota, Yitbarashim Ha, Befi Hulhai, Tamid Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Yasher Koach again. And Rabbi Pinsky.
Yes, I'll invite everyone to rise again as we put the Torah in its final place in whatever we're using as the ark in your home, and sing Eitz Chaim. Hodo haaretz v'shamayim vayarem keren le'amo tehila lechol hasidav Livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom hecha me'ushar drahecha darchei noam v'chol netivotecha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, Kekedem. And now we get to hear, after beautifully chanted Torah, we get to hear some words of Torah from Elexi.
Shabbat Shalom. In my Torah portion, Shmini, the Israelites are still in the desert on their long journey from Egypt to Canaan. God instructs them to make a portable synagogue called the Tabernacle, or Mishkan in Hebrew. The first section of my Torah portion talks about all of the activities that make the Mishkan holy. Aaron, Moses' brother, is a high priest and has 4 sons who will also be important priests. Aaron and his sons make all of the offerings that God requests in the tabernacle. Aaron's 2 oldest sons, Nadab and Abihu, each make an offering of alien fire. God, however, had not commanded this offering, and as a result, God sends a fire that kills these 2 sons. After the bodies of Nadab and Abihu are removed from the camp, the focus returns to consecrating the tabernacle. The third section wraps up with a long discussion about the dietary laws of kashrut and some laws of purity. Shmini is a pretty packed parsha. It's astonishing when God zaps Nadab and Abihu for their error in making an offering that apparently was not expected. After thinking about this parsha for a few weeks now, I find myself coming back to the shocking deaths of Nadab and Abihu. This is the section of the parsha that disturbs me, and I assume many other people, and it's the focus of what I want to share with you here. Torah scholars have a lot of thoughts about why Nadab and Abihu were killed and often blame them. I'm no Torah scholar, but I think Nadab and Abihu only had good intentions. It wasn't like they were running away from their obligations. God asked for an offering and they provided one. From the perspective of Nadab and Abihu, putting incense in their fire pans as an offering to God was appropriate. They were full of good intentions. They were just thinking about what they wanted to give to God and not about what God wanted, so the outcome was bad. I don't think we should have to keep finding excuses to justify their fiery deaths. Instead, Nadab and Abihu's deaths make me think about why God would do such a thing. Can we just accept that Nadab and Abihu were treated too harshly when they made a mistake by giving the offering they did? Isn't it better that Nadab and Abihu wanted to give a gift to God rather than not give anything at all? Is it always necessary for someone to ask for a gift? Can't you just give from your heart? Jews repeatedly hear that the Jewish God is a God that balances justice and mercy. I don't see God's mercy in the story of Nadav and Abihu. I see an outcome that obviously displeased God, but I don't see any logic. There are terrible actions in the Jewish story that aren't punished. All Nadav and Abihu were doing was giving God a gift from their hearts. When speaking about this with Rabbi Heidi, she directed me to an essay that discussed the idea of giving sensibly. It begins by citing Abraham ibn Ezra, an important Torah commentator from the Middle Ages. Ibn Ezra explains that the sin of Nadav and Abihu was doing something that God had not commanded them to do, and therefore they died. It didn't matter what they brought. Their deaths were because of their desire to worship God and not doing what God commanded. This is another scholar blaming Nadav and Abihu. The article then suggests we may also sometimes behave as Nadav and Abihu did. We might be attracted to the idea of taking matters into our own hands when wanting to serve God or other people. We may even think being proactive is the highest form of service, and we give because our hearts tell us to do so. Yet the article suggests that well-meaning giving can be misplaced. The article points out how in humanitarian crises, again and again, donations made without clear instructions can do more harm than good. For example, after a tsunami in Asia, some of the items that were donated were 4-inch heels and wool blankets, things that are no use in the hot, humid climate of Asia. This reminds us that our responses to needs must be aligned to what is needed. Otherwise, our generous giving is not doing any good. I see the point of the article, but it also implies that directives are always well thought out and made clear. I don't think that's always the case. There's responsibility everywhere. Leaders of all kinds of organizations should make their policies and guidelines clear. When donors better understand the logic that drives a mission, they become better at evaluating and responding. Clear communication and education are essential. This, to me, is another sad part of Nadav and Abihu's death. It could have been a teaching moment. Instead, 2 men are killed and we still don't really know why. Whether it's God or whether it's people in charge, make clear what is needed. I believe that people are good at heart, and I also believe the structures around them need to answer to the people. This brings me to what we can learn from this Torah portion. I think we can all learn how to give sensibly. We should always think before giving and ask ourselves questions such as, what is and isn't appropriate to give? Who should I give it to, and how do I give it to them? Along these lines, as part of the preparations for my bat mitzvah, I've decided to support the Innocence Project. The Innocence Project is a nonprofit organization that works to free innocent people who are wrongly seen as guilty and incarcerated. I have chosen to donate to the Innocence Project because I want to make sure that all people are treated equally, regardless of who they are. I hope you will decide to support the Innocence Project too. There is a link to donate in an email Rabbi Heidi has sent to the congregation. Lastly, I want to thank my Hebrew school teachers, Rabbi Nadia, Rabbi Pinsky, and Rabbi Heidi, for helping me prepare for my bat mitzvah. I also want to thank Audrey Korlstein for helping me think about my Devar Torah. I thank my family for always supporting me and everyone for joining me on Zoom today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yesher Koach. So now we come to some moments, Elexi, of blessings for you. And I have to say, it has been such a blessing for me to be able to work with you these last many months. I'm so proud of you, and you have just been a joy to work with. I have to say, my face, I don't think I could smile any wider this morning, just with the grace that you brought and beauty to leading this morning's service. So we talked in the beginning that you had a difficult Torah portion, both in terms of the trope of the chanting, which you accomplished and executed flawlessly, the most beautiful that we've heard yet, and with the content. We talked about how not only did this Torah portion have actually some of the most difficult cantillation in all of Torah, and you met that and exceeded all expectations. You did so wonderful, but the content of this Torah portion was also quite problematic, and you touched on that so beautifully in your drash. Now, you said that you were not a top Torah scholar, but I would argue that indeed you are, because you taught us so much. I think there's much that I learned from your drash this morning, and all of us. And really, you are taking your place today in the tradition of the Jewish people and in a tradition of leadership. I know that you worked so hard to get here, and my wish for you is that you keep working towards your goal, you keep your passion and your dedication, and that hopefully some of that will lead back to taking on roles of leadership in Beshert. I have to say selfishly that I am going to so miss getting to spend every Tuesday afternoon with you, but I am so excited to see what the future holds for you, Elexi. You did a beautiful, beautiful job. Yesher koach.
And that means that it's now my turn. And I have to echo what Rabbi Pinsky said. I was going to say the same thing, that the only thing that I disagreed with in your drash was that you're not a Torah scholar, because you did exactly what Torah scholars do. You read your parsha, you found a part that intrigued and disturbed you, you read what other people had to say about it, and you brought your own opinion to it as well, adding your voice to the voices of all of the Torah scholars of the centuries before us. So you're part of that chain of people who have immersed themselves in the Torah and wrestled with the Torah. And it is so, so Jewish to push back at God and criticize God and say, God, you know, in this instance, you were too harsh, God. And that's part of what we do. We wrestle with our texts and we wrestle with God. And so you are well on your way with that. You also, I remember the moment when you told me what your mitzvah project was going to be and how your face sort of lit up when you said, I want to support the Innocence Project because I feel passionate about it. And that passion is so important in our lives. And I think there is also a link between your Torah portion and your interpretation of your Torah portion and the Innocence Project, in that you feel like something happened to these young priests that was unjust. And your mitzvah project is also about fighting injustice, people who have been unjustly incarcerated. And so I just want to really honor your passion and your desire for justice. So there's a blessing for you here. Into our hands, O God, you have placed your Torah to be held high by parents and children and taught by one generation to the next. Whatever has befallen us, our people have remained steadfast in loyalty to the Torah, which doesn't mean they always agree with it. It was carried in the arms of parents that their children might not be deprived of their birthright. And now we pray that you, Elexi, Eden, may always be worthy of this inheritance. Take its teaching into your heart and in turn pass it on to your children should you have them and those who come after you. May you be a faithful Jew, searching for wisdom and truth, working for justice and peace. May the one who has always been our guide inspire you to bring honor to our family and to the house of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai shenatan lanu et hazechut ve'et hakavod letet lach Torah. Blessed is Adonai, our God, who gives us, Rabbi Pinsky and me, the honor and privilege of entrusting you with Torah. One of the blessings in the Bible is Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. God will grant strength to God's people, and God will bless God's people with peace. I had to translate it. And you are part of the strength of the Jewish people. You are part of that strength that God blesses the Jewish people with. And you are a blessing. Amen. And now I invite everyone to join in a Shehechianu, our prayer of gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who gives us life, who sustains us, and who has brought us to this day when you take your place as someone able to lead our community in prayer and teach our community Torah. Amen. And now we are going to turn to our concluding prayers of our service, the Elenu. If you have a prayer book, it begins on page 586 at the top of the page, and or actually at the bottom of the page. And I invite you now, if you're able, to rise. Elenu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gidula leotze breshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed aretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, ushchinat uzo begovhe meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Let's be seated. And now we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. If you have a prayer book, the Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. And once again, I will ask you, if you have names to add for the Mourner's Kaddish, please do so in the chat so we can include them. And of course, you can always hold the names of your loved ones in your hearts for the Mourner's Kaddish. We remember those who have died in the past year. Peter Brandenberger, Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, David Schachter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tria Sapir, Jane Evans, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Manny Pastor, Ruth Rubin, Harris Reese, Emerson Berger, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Caroline McNamara, Marion McGivney, Ronnie Turek, Michaela Schaefer, Helen Zegerman-Schwimmer, Ido Sheffi, Elaine Gordet, Dr. Stephen Kamholtz, Carol Gross, Carol Andre, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barish, William Lamp, Ina Sandals, Martin Shankin, Solomon Tettelbaum, Howard Jankelowitz, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Braunzweig, Harry Baylor, Benjamin W. Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Rita Belay. On our yahrzeit list today, and let me put our yahrzeit list up on the screen. Included on our list today are Robert Barras, who is Natalie Friedlander's cousin, Marilyn Gallen, Laurie Silverman's mother, Hermine Ginsberg, Stanley Ginsberg's wife, Minnie Greenberg, Fran Arnowitz's mother, Max Guskin, Jean Guskin's father, Hyman Katzman, Leonora Katzman's father, Louis Mencken, Judith Weiss's grandfather, Rose Sakowitz, Elaine Drucker's mother, and Sylvia Schweiger, Ron Schweiger's mother. We also are including today Marilyn Roth, Edith and Sad Kaufman, Nancy Connor, Dieter Daum, Richard Halmowitz, Norma Kreitman. We include today Alexi's grandfather, Barry Schloss, her aunt Bonnie Schloss, and other members of the family who are no longer here with us. I have a correction, Edith and Sar, is that correct? Kaufman.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, good. Barbara Weiner, Ella and Max Rubenstein. We also include all of those around the world, over 3 million people who have died from COVID-19, and those who have died from other causes, whether in war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. I invite you now, if you're able, to rise and join in the Mourner's Kaddish, or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, dam yaran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Elenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say amen. Let's be seated. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. And now I would like to invite Alexi's parents, Adam and Heather, to give her their blessing.
Stand up. Yeah. So go ahead. I have it also.
Okay. You're just maneuvering around.
Unmute myself.
The mic on. Elexi, you used to be so tiny and bald. And now you are grown with thick, luxurious locks. Beyond those obvious physical differences, your mother and I have watched you mature as a person over the years with great delight. You are so special, Elexi.
You've worked so hard preparing for this bat mitzvah, practicing daily for months. Of course, we are not surprised because you bring a determination and desire to achieve in all that you do. This quality, whether applied to today, your schooling, or organizing our refrigerator using bins you picked out in the container store, will serve you well through life.
We love that you have a big heart and always think of others. Don't let yourself become cynical over time.
We love your amazing sense of humor and the fact that you often laugh until you fall over onto the floor. As you age, don't start taking yourself too seriously.
We love that you come into our room every evening to hug us goodnight. Please promise never to stop.
Speaking. No. We love that you enjoy wearing all kinds of crazy and fun earrings. Hope you never switch to plain studs.
We love that you ask insightful questions about how the world works and why. As you get busier in life, keep looking outward and learning new things.
Elexi, of course, we could go on and on. The message is just keep being you.
We love you so much. It's hard not to think of you as that baby, that bald little baby. However, as your biggest fans, we are super excited to watch what you'll do as you continue to grow and make your way through life.
We love you.
We love you.
And now I would like to invite Charlotte Russell to congratulate Elexi on behalf of Sisterhood.
Well, it was wonderful being here with you today. I think you are a remarkable young lady. I love the Hebrew name you've chosen. It brings such beautiful pictures of things growing and beautiful flowers, beautiful trees. I think that's a lovely, lovely name that you chose. You were wonderful today. I was so happy to share your day with you. And the women of Beshert have a gift for you, which will be hand delivered by one of our members. And I will tell you now what it is. It is a Miriam's cup to be used at your Seder table. And I hope you remember us for a long time, as we will remember you. A beautiful day today. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
And Joel, would you like to speak for Brotherhood? You have to unmute though.
I keep forgetting that. Elexi, congratulations, Mazel Tov. You were just fantastic. You could see the joy in the rabbis' faces. Your parents, I'm sure, all proud, and everybody here. It can't be more proud of the job you did. The Torah was just fantastic. And just can't say how well you did. Anyway, Brotherhood is going to be sending you a gift, and you can use it any way you like. I know you have a great passion for the organization, and I can see why. And we just wish you a long life anyway, of health, happiness, and prosperity. And any one of us here will never forget what a great job you did. Just take care and be well and be safe, everyone. Good Shabbos. Thank you.
Good Shabbos, and thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our president, Eric Platt, to give us announcements.
Good Shabbos. First, on behalf of Beshert, Yasher Koach to Elexi, you were awesome. And your Devar Torah was so thoughtful and very rabbinic. I think you taught us a lot, and that shows how much you will progress and contribute to our Jewish community and also our congregation. I'm just going to mention a few things. You can find the happenings for the week on the email that was sent by Rabbi Hoover of the happenings for the week. I just want to mention that tomorrow is a very busy day. At 9:15, there's a Brotherhood meeting. And at 10 a.m., you're all invited to a Brotherhood presentation where our own Ron Schweiger, our Brooklyn historian, will speak about famous Jews from our own borough. At 11:30 tomorrow, the Jewish Cultural Committee is presenting a discussion led by Maddie Kay about comparing Joseph in the Torah and Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the Donny Osmond version. So please join us. And then at 4 p.m., the Interfaith Coalition, which we are a member of, is presenting another session of Abraham's Table, and they're going to be discussing the stewardship of the earth in our three faith traditions. So please try to attend those events. Also, I want to mention that this Tuesday at 7 o'clock, there is a special congregational meeting at which the architect that we have chosen to, that the trustees have chosen to recommend to the congregation, Brower and Hoffman Architects, will be giving a presentation, and then there'll be a discussion, and we will vote to retain them to do the master plan for our building. So please do try to attend because we need to have a quorum. And if you absolutely cannot attend, please send in the absentee ballot. Finally, I want to mention, please keep keep in mind the date of Saturday night, May 8th at 6:30 p.m. when we will be having we will be presenting a concert by Nefesh Mountain. If you haven't seen Nefesh Mountain, they're a fabulous group that does bluegrass music with a spiritual tone and also Jewish themes. And we are also, this concert is very important to us because it's going to, the funds that we raise from it will help with our efforts to restore the stained glass windows in our sanctuary. So please keep that in mind and please attend. I wish you all a good week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And now a blessing upon Elexi and her whole family and all of us. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. I think Elexi and everyone who has spoken, and I'm sure all of the comments rolling in and the feedback you'll get afterwards, everyone is just so proud of you. You mentioned how Nadav and Abihu, the characters in your Torah portion, their offering was for whatever reason unacceptable. And I think we can say the very opposite of your offerings today. So very beautiful. And so we say, Siman Tov u'Mazel Tov, celebrating you. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Elenu. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Elenu. Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov.
Everyone should feel free to unmute yourselves now and congratulate the family or greet people, whatever you want to do. A joyful cacophony.